excited, y'all. Welcome back to the Eating Podcast. This is Alicia, and I am, like I said, beyond excited because I have someone that is near and dear to my heart on the podcast this week. Illeana Kirven is here on the podcast.
Horace, it's happening.
It is beyond happening. I'm telling you, I've been so excited for this conversation because Illeana's doing a lot of great things. Something that I just found out about, which I'm not going to spoil it just yet. She'll share some with us. But Illeana and I met as performers. We were I think we were maybe like an audition we met at.
Auditions all the time, you and me.
Yes.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
And lunching.
Yes.
With the ladies who lunch.
I love it.
Yes.
And, I wanted to reach out to different friends of mine who are performers to just talk about what it's like being a performer and how this actual life chose them as opposed to the other way around, because it's literally what it is.
It really is. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it really is.
It really is. And
yeah.
So, like I said, thank you so much for being on the podcast this week. I cannot wait to get into this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So for those who, might want to know, like, how did you get into performing, or what was the thing that I really said to you, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be on a stage performing. What was that?
Yeah.
thing?
So interesting enough for me, I was always like, I say this now and people are like, you were a shy kid. I was the shyest kid. Like, I come from a big family. For a lot of my life, I was the baby in that family, and I had older siblings to follow behind, and that puts enough of a stigma. You're not trying to compete with them, but when you go to school and you're like, oh, you're so and so's baby sister, and you're like, oh my God, now what did they do that I have to try to do better? You know what I mean? It's this whole thing. So when I was in elementary school, so this goes way, way back with me, I was remember being in maybe the third grade and being like, we had a little play that the teacher wrote, and there was the singing, the wheels on the bus and the kids in the back, and I was the little kid in the very back of the little paper cutout school bus, and my only job was to wave, and I was so freaking cute, and all I did was wave and walk with that bus, and the audience lost it. Like, all the love and I was like, what did I sing? Didn't sing a note, didn't do anything, and they loved it. And I instantly loved that type of connection with people.
Mm-hmm.
Now I say it's connection with people. Right then I just thought, oh, I must be really wonderful and really cute, and they think I'm precious, and maybe I'll get lots of, candy later or something, But now, as I've grown, I realize the more I perform now, which is, everywhere I perform, I just always love to see if I can bring some joy to somebody. That's like one of my biggest things with performing, is that if I can especially see faces and people are smiling and people are like, oh, and like, oh my God, that note, and or just anything that brings them some joy. Because I think we work so hard so many times, and people working a lot of 9 to 5. Sometimes you don't like what you do for a living, and sometimes theater is such an escape. It's such a fantasy. In a lot of ways, it's a luxury for people to get to do. And I love seeing that they love what they're getting. And so that's very important to me. And, it comes a long way from being that little kid until where I am now, in performing. But I still think back on that. Every time people ask me, I usually think back on that little kid, because I think I got that really early. And I always thought I was going to be a nurse. But even as a child, I thought I was in admiration of so many. I still am, of nurses and the things that nurses do, and doctors as well, but nurses in particular. I'm still in a lot of admiration, because when I also was a child, when I was in 5th grade, I got sick, and I was taken care of by the sweetest nurse that called me. Oh my God, she called me dumpling. Everything was dumpling. Do you want some? Because I wouldn't eat, and you wouldn't know it now, but I just couldn't. My body was ill. I was sick for a little bit, and they found out what it was, and they took something out, and it made everything was okay.
Right.
But I was in the hospital for probably a week, and I had that same nurse every day, and I loved what she gave me, and so I thought I was going to be a nurse, and then I realized I don't like math, and I don't like science, and I don't like. I mean, I do like science.
Yes.
When I can look at, the eclipse and there's all these beautiful things, but I don't want to be textbook. Like no ma'am, no thank you. So yeah, I don't want to touch a frog. I don't want. So I tried it. I went to school. I was taking dance classes. I was doing everything theatrical, and I was doing everything that was required for science and going, oh, please don't make me cut this frog. Don't make me do any of these things. Luckily, I had a partner that loved cutting frogs, and I was like, "That's on you. I will write these notes." But yeah. So I just realized that I had such a love. My other calling was in the arts. My mentor, her name is Pamela Irwin. She has had a dance studio here. I saw them on a news report dancing in a park, and literally took out the yellow pages and called her at home. She said, come over. I got my mom's giant green Lincoln at that time, big as a house, drove over to her house, sat on her floor and watched videos of these people dancing that were my age. They started when they were, 5, 6. At that age, I was like probably 13, 14. Sat on her floor for hours. She was trained at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco, but she also was a big Ailey fan. So she had trained with some Ailey training. She had done all sorts of training.
Right.
You name it, she'd done it. And she was in my little hometown. And I was so infected by her that I was just like, what do I have to do? And so I ended up taking classes, and I ended up babysitting her son. I ended up getting a scholarship in her studio. I ended up cleaning the studio. Whatever she needed me to do, I was going to be there to do it, because I wanted to take all the classes I could so I could catch up with the other kids that had been dancing since they were little. And I did. And I ended up, a lot of kids in my class dropped out that were my age, forced me to be in the advanced class, which forced me to work my ass off to be at that level, because I didn't want to be embarrassed. So then I got to be where I could dance in the concerts, and then I was dancing with the advanced girls. And then the thing posted for me to go to New York and do an audition for AMDA, and I went to AMDA, got into AMDA. That's how my New York part started. I graduated from AMDA back in the day in New York, when it was only the one school in New York, and then got out and just went gypsy crazy with working all over the country. A lot of those friends are the friends I have now. Then I moved back to New York when I met you.
Right.
And it just goes on and on. It just continues. I don't know anything else that I want to do except for travel, but this allows me to travel, which I love. But there are other things I can do, and I do really love teaching as well. But it has to be in the arts. Like, I can't see myself functioning outside of the art, especially because the arts community, the people, like the people, like the open-mindedness of the people, and even when we have conflicts, we can figure it out. It's just, I don't know. It's I try to explain it to people, and they look like me like I'm eating poop, and I swear I just give up sometimes. I'm like, because it's kind of like, if you know, you know.
Right.
If you're open to the understanding, you're going to get it. If it's so far beyond you that what I'm saying is off-putting, let's talk about it another day. But you may not be ready. You may not be ready, but it's the most beautiful, most loving community, the art, whether it's performance or, a painting or just anything visual, or even if it's poetry, or, there's so many rap, anything. There's so many legs of it that makes it so appealing to my mind. Just kind of goes all over the place. I don't know if you know, I'm really into K-pop.
No, I did not know that.
K-pop's my freaking jam.
My daughter loves K-pop.
BTS that's my family. People are like, I travel with their dolls. They're like, Illeana. I'm like, you don't know my world. Get out. Don't talk about my K-pop. I love it so much. I
Right.
love it. I just love it.
Right.
So the international world is what I want more of my life, more in my life.
Right.
I feel like I've missed a lot, and so I'm really pushing myself. And I've traveled a lot. I mean, I really have traveled a lot of the U.S., Canada. I've not really pushed myself internationally enough,
Right.
and that's like my number one goal. I have to do it, and I've been doing it.
Right.
But even when I was in Korea all summer, I'm like, oh my God, where can I go next?
Right.
You know, and I'm ready to go back to Korea. You know, I'm ready to go back to Seoul and South Korea. But there's so much out there.
Yes.
And I just tell people, please don't miss it.
Yes.
Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Work hard, make your money so you can do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't ask me for no money because I'm kidding.
He's like, you work hard for your money.
I gotta have my money to travel.
Exactly. We can meet up with both our money.
We will.
And
we will.
but don't look over here for money.
Don't look over here for money. I may buy you a drink, and I probably won't let you sleep on the street.
Exactly.
But you don't need your own ride. I'm gonna say.
I love it. Listen, as you were talking, I was just like, wait a minute, we have so many parallels. This is wild.
Yes.
I'm the youngest of 6.
Ah.
Right? I am.
Yeah. I did know that. You went back to school. I remember being so proud of you.
Right. I am a nurse.
You like science.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Math. Now,
I do too. I like science too. I shouldn't say that like that.
Let me tell you something.
Math was a struggle.
Listen, I took a statistics class, and I tell the story to so many people, and they're like, "You're hilarious." I'm in the class, first day, and our professor is, it was like the Charlie Brown teacher was up there.
Oh.
And so at the end of the lecture, at the end of the lecture, he was like, "Are there any questions?" And I raised my hand, and of course he motions to me to, ask the question. And I was like, "Can you repeat that?" And he was like, "What?" I was like, "Everything."
From the moment I get out of bed till now, sir. Oh my God. That would be me daily. That would be me daily.
I looked at my friend.
Oh, bless your heart.
But God to get me through this course because
you did it though. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So amazing.
But all that to say, like I said, I'm the youngest of 6. I'm a nurse.
Yes, yes.
I went to AMDA.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Oh, did I know that?
I don't think so. And I didn't know you went to AMDA. So
what?
You guys might be wondering, like, what's AMDA? So AMDA is the American Musical and Dramatic Academy.
It's
a conservatory in New York City. And a lot of performers go to school there.
Yeah.
I went there. I was there from 98 to 2000.
We barely missed each other.
That is so
We barely missed each other. That's insane.
Isn't that wild?
How do I not know that? We don't talk about it, clearly.
Right.
You get your education, you're like, well, that's done.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Can I book a gig?
Can I please book a gig? Please, can I book a gig? Can I book a lot of gigs?
Exactly.
Forever. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
It's so funny. And what's wild? It's like as you were like saying all that, I was like, that is so, like you said, it's just so interesting that we never had the opportunity to even talk about it. We never
talked about it. And we work together a lot, Leach, so that's kind of ridiculous. But we had a lot to talk about when we were together. Right? First of all, it was always freaking early in the morning. And then, you wait, you get dressed, and then you're hungry. And then we went to work.
Exactly.
Then we went
just like so wild. So that is
so wild.
So wild.
I know.
This is like completely. I'm like in the whole AMDA world. Did you have pre-done for a teacher?
I did not, but I know who that is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I had. Oh my gosh, where were my teachers' name? I had Pearson.
Yes.
He filled in for somebody. He wasn't really my teacher.
Yeah.
And then my last semester was a lady that they brought in just for the showcase. I can't remember her name either. We had some conflicts, my showcase year. So, you know, there's always this issue, even in our community. It's better now than it
Mhm.
probably has been. It's getting better.
Right.
Everybody's a lot more woke to a lot of things. So some things I think were, you know, we one of our showcase things we were doing was a raisin in the sun.
Yeah.
My thing is, I love a raisin in the sun,
Right.
but I I feel like I fought this all my life in the arts. I still feel like I fight this today. I don't. I know I'm a Black woman. I'm a very proud Black woman. I love my
Yeah.
heritage. I love my people. I love, love, love. I don't always want to just be the Black woman. I don't always want to be looked
Thank
at
you.
and thought, oh, you would be great for this role because you're Black and you're this age. It just is really old. And I don't know why we it's just feels like a stigma. Like it's always felt like a stigma. And I've been lucky that I have been blessed to do roles that a lot of Black people may not have done. Like I've done the narrator in Joseph,
Yeah.
but they wanted that. I've done that a lot, that role a lot actually. But they want that the belt for that a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that I can give them that and they can look past.
Yeah.
And I don't. You don't always want them to look. I don't want them to look past this like you don't see me for who I am.
Right.
Respect me as a Black woman. I want to respect people as their culture. I don't want them to think that their culture is less than mine. I want so much equality.
Right.
I mean, it can't be enough. There just cannot be enough equality
Right.
for everybody. But I do like to not. I do like to not always be put in the box.
Yes.
I just feel like that box is dead,
Mhm.
and we should. Then there's plenty of opportunities, and it just needs. I just feel like it needs to be more open,
Yeah.
just generally more
Yeah.
open. So that's a big pet peeve of mine. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I'm glad
yeah,
you brought that up. I'm really
yeah,
because you know when I went to AMDA, and for those who might be like, "What are y'all talking about?"
yeah.
In the arts world, there's a thing called typecasting,
Hmm.
and for people like myself and Illeana, I remember when I got to AMDA.
Hmm.
Even before I say I got to AMDA, I auditioned with a song from Les Mis.
Hmm.
Les Mis
Hmm.
was my favorite musical.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
like
yes,
the
yes.
music from that. And actually, I was just talking
Yeah.
to someone about this the other day. That was one of the shows that really woke me up to, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. I want to perform. Like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, like
Yeah.
these people get to do like this is their job.
Job.
What?
Yes.
You know, like this
Yes.
is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And so, of course, because I was obsessed with the musical, why wouldn't I use one of the
Me
songs?
too. I love it.
Right. So
Love it. Love it.
I get, admitted to AMDA. I get
Hmm.
there, but had no
Oh,
idea what typecasting was. I had
right.
what? I don't know. What does this even mean? And as soon as I get there, they're instantly like, "Oh, you're a Black woman.
Oh,
You have a belt voice,
right.
a mezzo alto range, and you're a heavier woman. So here
Oh,
is your type."
oh my
And
gosh.
you can't deviate from this type. So every song I sang was a Black
Oh,
heavyset woman song.
yeah.
I was told that because when I came to AMDA, I was younger and my face was it looked a lot younger than it does now.
Hmm.
It was always, oh, wait till you get older. You will definitely book gigs because your face is too young right now. But
Same.
right,
We're the same. Our life is. It's the same life. Well,
seriously,
minus the nursing. Same life.
literally,
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I just thought to myself, okay, one, I have to like wait to work. Okay, there's that.
Yeah.
And then two, I can only sing these particular songs and take these particular roles in this
Yeah.
show. Like, that's it?
Crush. That's
Crush.
crushing to be in an
Crush.
educational setting and
Mhm.
and be told that I'm paying you money
Yeah.
for you to crush my soul. Thank you
Right.
for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that happened. And then over time, I had to tell myself, okay, if I'm going to work, once I get out
Yeah.
of here, I have to, I guess, accept this.
Oh,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So I got caught up in that so much so
Right.
that I compromised myself in that world because I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to be the most beltiest Black woman, and
Right.
really taken away from who I was as a person, not being Alicia, but trying to be that
Right.
Black woman
Uh-huh.
with all the attitude, with
What
all
they
the
think
sass.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
got
do you
it.
find that being like an issue?
Oh, yes, but I found myself so often completely so conflicted with it that I felt like I literally felt myself fighting, and I
Mm,
felt like okay. I did this show. I love doing showboat. I always said at Queenie. I've
yeah.
been doing Queenie since I was like 20 something
Right.
years old, you know. And I had a director at one point tell me, I can't remember what he were talking. Still one of my favorite people like on this planet, and I honestly have given him the benefit of the doubt all my life that he did not mean any harm in what he said.
Mm,
The only reason I think I've kept him in my life is because I proved him opposite almost all my life. So
yeah.
he would tell me, "You're never going to do this type of role. You're not." I've done Dolores in Sister Act.
Mm,
Normally she's super thin, and I was
right.
thinner than I am now, but I was not skinny by
Right.
any means. I don't think she has to be. I don't think
Right.
she has to be, you know, 6 feet tall or whatever.
Right.
But people casting might. So I always felt like I know that I can do it. Let me show you. And
Yeah.
if you give me a chance, I'm probably going to get that role.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of how my life has worked.
Mm,
Most things that I've applied for, if I can audition in person, which is why I don't like auditioning on video.
yes.
I'm so thankful that we have the medium where we can audition on video.
Right.
I'm not good at it. I
Yeah.
really have to talk to people. If I can talk to them, I usually can convince them to at least give me a call back. Or at
Right.
least, I mean, I have gotten callbacks when I had strep throat and I was singing for what do you call it? The BJ role in Smokey Joe's Cafe. I love BJ, rest her
Oh,
soul.
yes.
And I booked that with strep throat. I was like, just give me a call back. I need a few days. They're
Yeah.
like, okay, because you got to hold this BJ note. I said, I can hold that note. 2 days later, they were like, okay, thank you. When are you calling me? And they called me literally. I was barely in my car, you
Mm,
know. So I just
right.
feel like I have really spent a lot of time fighting against what people look at you and see.
Mm,
I also don't know if you noticed this. Like, this is something I use Actors Access a lot. I
yeah.
use Backstage a lot. I use everything a lot. But I've noticed a lot on Actors Access that they um, are very specific when they're casting specifically Black roles, specifically Black women roles, with what they want that body type to be,
Yeah.
because they're used to us being the heavier roles, or
Mm,
I don't know, you would say like Aunt Jemima roles or whatever.
yep.
And if they are for sure not looking for that role, they are very specific about it. I appreciate that in some ways, and then in other ways, I'm like, well, how do you know that's still not the person that you want if you don't let that person audition? So
Exactly.
it's a conflict. It's a conflict in my head for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, we live with it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's ever gonna go away. I think
Right.
that's just gonna be how it is.
How it is, right? And
Yeah.
it's like you said before, you have the opportunity to perform and play roles that traditionally weren't
Yeah.
seen for, types like us.
Right.
Um
Yes.
so there is some evolution in it, but like you said, I do feel like that still is like that hard,
Yeah.
like, like
It's a
driving
mountain.
force. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a climb. It's a
Climb.
consistent climb. And it's different if you're a celebrity. So
Yeah.
celebrities, the door is open. Do
Right.
that role. We want you because you're a celebrity. Your name's gonna sell it anyway.
Right.
But if you are a person like us who have been in the business working our way up, 20 something years,
Yeah.
that door isn't as easily jarred for
Yeah.
us to get in
Exactly.
there. But that doesn't mean we can't try and that we shouldn't try and
Right.
keep pushing for it. Because one day we're going to be celebrities. So there. People tell me
Hello.
I am, and I'm like, no. Even though sometimes I feel like it, like when I was in Korea and people were
Right.
crying, I'm like, it was very, it was jarring to me because
Right.
even though I like that they love the performance, I don't want people to feel like I'm unapproachable. So
Yeah.
that's my other thing. And because
Yeah.
again, that's what I like about the performance is the connecting with the people. So
Yeah.
when you see me and you're backing off, but you want to come close, but you're crying.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a one girl, I just like grabbed her and hugged her and I had to let her because I'm human, you
Yeah.
know, and my emotions got in, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And she was so happy because
Right.
she didn't think we were gonna come out the front door. Like they don't think you walk the same streets that they walk, and I'm like,
Right.
"Girl, I'm finna get in this Uber and I'm finna go eat." You know, K barbecue at midnight with everybody else. I'm not.
And that's what that is what I love about you is that you are just genuine.
Yeah,
You
I really
know,
want to be. Yeah,
yeah. And I think that's another thing too, is like maintaining who you are in this business
yeah,
can
yeah.
be really difficult.
It can be so hard.
Right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, go ahead. What were you
Yeah,
gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say, like, a lot of times, specifically with Chicago, a lot of these musicals have the junior versions of the musical.
Right.
So the children are doing. So you have high schoolers doing it. Sometimes we've even had middle school students doing it, and they'll go on a field trip and they'll come to the theater,
Hmm.
and you come out of the door and they lose their mind. And all I want to do is sit and talk to them and
Right.
tell them to follow their dream and to be inspired
Right.
and to realize that you're human, I'm human. I've been where you are. I
Yeah.
understand, where you're coming from. And they're just, I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You'll hear me later. But
Right.
they get it. But they
Exactly.
do get it, and they follow me and on Instagram. And a lot of times I'll go back and I'll say, hey, you told me you were auditioning. Like if I remember things, because some of them have like important life things coming. One boy when I was in California saw me at I went to lunch with somebody, and he
Uh,
came up and he was like, "Oh, I just saw the show and I really want to do it, and I'm in college and I have no idea." And so I sent him. I said, "Well, what I can share with you is what I know and how I
mhm.
began." And I sent him UPTA's auditions. I sent him SETC. I
Yes.
love those things, and I still today, when I'm free to go, I still go to
Right.
those auditions. My friends are there, like the theaters that I feel like really set me, like regional theater was
Yes.
really my gypsy life for so many years before I moved to New York. And I cannot forget those people. And I'm going to cry a little bit because
Yep.
the reason that I have Chicago right now
Yeah.
is because of a theater that I worked at before I was in New York. It
Yeah.
had nothing to do with me being in New York and having the connection and the
Yeah.
casting in New York. Luckily, when they told me to submit to casting in New York, the casting in New York liked me, but I was already loved by the theater I had worked at,
Yeah.
15 years ago. So keeping those connections strong and really knowing who you are and being kind. Like I
Right.
really, really stress with myself and with my cast that I work with. I love my cast so much.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're not all coming back, which is going to make me cry some more, Lord.
Right.
What's your problem? But I get it. I get it. People want to
Right.
move on. They want to do other things, and that's fine. I'm so happy for them, as long as you stay true to yourself and your
Right.
dream, and know you got to work. Like, and I think they all do. They work really hard, but just in general in the business, I set office hours for myself every
Mhm.
single day, whether I am on tour and know that I have worked for a year or two,
Right.
or whether I am home right now looking for the next thing, even though I have stuff lined up. You have to put the time in. Like
Mhm.
this business, like you go to school, you might go to school, even with any business, it's the same. Any job is going to be the same.
Right.
You will only be the best you can be if you put the time in,
Right.
follow your education. If you're able to get a education with it, learn all you can and work for it. If you
Right.
really want it, you just have to work for it. you
Right.
know there's no easy way.
Yeah.
But if you love what you do, it is easy because you love what you do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So,
I love that, and I love the fact that you brought up Chicago because you brought it up here and there. But so let people know.
yeah.
So Ileana was you did the tour of Chicago,
Yes.
and are you going back out on the
I'm going
tour?
back out. So I did. I originally replaced the Mama Morton that was on it before me, that went to when they were going to go to Korea. She has a family. She's a nurse. Oh my God. She's an amazing nurse. She's an amazing Christina Wells Designs. Look her up, you guys.
Okay.
She's a designer. She crochets. I should have my hat so I can show you the beautiful hat she crocheted for me. Beautiful human being, just in general. But she has a family. She has children. She wanted to go back to her design company and get off the road. She's been on the road for over a year. And I couldn't be more happy. All I wanted to do was go to Korea and do wherever else, the tour was going to take me. So I got to do the South Korea leg of the tour, the 25th anniversary of the tour. Then we came back and we finished that year in Greensboro and Charlotte. And then my whole year began in September. No, that's not true. In October of last year, which brought me through last Sunday, May. And that was the completion of my circuit. So May to May was an entire year of Chicago for me. So I will start back up again with another leg that I have said, yes, I definitely want to do in September of this year with rehearsals in New York. So maybe I can see you. Yes, I can see you. Yeah, I would love that so much. So I'll be there 2 to 3 weeks, and then the tour will start all over again, and it'll go through June of next year.
Wow.
Yeah, some great dates, and I'll give them the websites and stuff. That actually it's not on the website yet. The new dates aren't on the website yet. But you can find them on tours too. I can. We're going to be in Florida. And I think that part is live somewhere, because I know it's on Tours to You on Instagram. You can go on there and look at Chicago and see pretty much everywhere we're going to be for 2024, 25. But we're going to be we're in Kansas City, we're in Nashville. I think we're back even in West Palm Beach, Florida. We got some Texas dates. I know we're back in Orange, Texas. We were just there, which was great. They were so awesome there. But we're going to go back and do another show there. We have a lot of northern. We're in Canada. We're in Monterrey, Mexico. I'm excited about all of that. Everywhere. I mean, it ends up being a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving around. Yeah, but we have a lot of 1 week sit downs. We're in Birmingham. I think we're in Birmingham for like 3 weeks. We're taking the show in Birmingham, and the tour will officially open out of Birmingham. Yeah. So that's exciting.
That is very exciting.
I love it. I'm ready.
I love it. So for those who might wonder, like for an actor that tours like that, do you find it more difficult to be like a touring actor or working like in region? Like what would you say, or do you find any of it?
What I love about tour is I just really, really love traveling. So what I really love about touring is just, you go into, like, for instance, I'm from Texas. We played the A&T Center in Dallas. The AT&T Center in Dallas, if you can ever go see anything there, it has this most beautiful musical chandelier on the ceiling that looks almost like it's like beams of light. For our show, it was red. I saw done the summer there, and I thought it was a different color, but I can't remember. But they kind of come down like, I don't know, I can't do it. Like, they're like this. I'm trying to, they're not all, they're like a spiral down. Right. So they have a student, they had, I think, a contest that a student from the Booker T school in Dallas orchestrated this music. So when the show is beginning, this chandelier raises to this music. And it is captivating. I was like, I'm in the show and I just want to watch this chandelier. So it's so beautiful. And the theater itself was so beautiful. Of course, it's Dallas, so they're my friends. And I love them. My family was there, so it was a magical moment. But we also were in Boston. I think if you ask anybody on this tour their favorite city, Boston won. Boston had an old, more like an old burlesque vaudeville house.
Mm.
So it wasn't like a state of the art. It is, but it isn't. It's been renovated, but
Right.
it's got the old stage door
Oh,
down
I
the little
love
out.
that.
No, I just loved it so much. I also really love Canada. I love San Diego was amazing. We played the Pantages in LA, which was incredible. So that was our
Right.
last year. So we're not going back into any of those probably this year, this
Right.
next coming year. But we have some great. I would say go if people are interested. Eventually, it'll be on our touring website, which is chicagoontour.com.
Right.
I don't think it's up yet because it just completed um, Sunday for that leg.
Right.
They haven't gotten into completion of casting yet, with who's going to return and who's wanting to move on to do something else.
Okay.
But if you go on Instagram, I don't know if you're familiar with Tours to You.
No, I have to check that out.
Tours, TOURS, the
Uh-huh.
number 2 and the word you. Follow his page.
Okay.
He tends to know when things are happening before a lot.
Okay.
And you can look by show and see where the shows will be when. And it's a lot of people will put it in their season before it's announced other places, and so that's how he can get it and see it, I
Right.
suppose.
Right.
But or he just has an in the owner of that page, so it's very good. I actually donate to them sometimes, and I'm like, you are keeping me on my toes.
I love that. So I gotta check
Tours
it
to
out.
You.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
No, I got a
it's
funny
great.
story. So my mother,
Ah,
when I moved to New York. My mom has passed, but
oh, mine too. Last
yeah,
year.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
When was yours?
in 2019, right
Oh,
before
it's
the
been right
pandemic.
before COVID.
Yeah.
Thank the
But
God, Lord, you didn't get into
yeah,
any of that,
and
right?
it was crazy
Yeah.
because she was actually in a rehab facility because she broke her hip.
Oh
And
no.
things she just declined in that way. But we were
Uh-huh.
saying, like, as siblings, like, it was a blessing actually that she did pass, because the
Mm.
likelihood of us actually being able to visit her,
Oh, I
during
know. I
COVID,
know.
it wouldn't have been
It wouldn't have
possible.
been possible.
It wouldn't have
Yeah.
been possible. But I
Yeah.
miss her every day.
Oh, I know. The same. The same. I
It
tell
is
you.
just, it's wild.
It really is. People always say that it's life changing, and it's I I don't even know. It still feels very it still feels very raw to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I'd say again, Chicago was a blessing because it kept
Hmm.
me from being in a dark corner crying as
Yep.
much as I wanted to, even though I did get in some dark corners
Yeah.
still, or even on my little bus seat when we were on our bus, and just kind of her birthday, I cried my freaking face off.
Right.
Her birthday was April the 19th, and I was on the
Oh,
road, and
right.
so just Mother's Day for some reason was even worse. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, Mother's Day's gonna come. They're all gonna come every year, and it's just,
Yes.
and I know people say it gets better, but they're your angels, and we just love them so much. And
Yeah.
then that I'm actually, the house I'm in right now is her house. It's our
Oh,
home.
okay. Yeah.
So even coming home, it's just hard because everything here. I don't want to take down any pictures of her. I don't want to,
Right.
I don't want to disrupt anything, even though I'm the one that put them up on
Right.
the wall. And it's just it's just a struggle.
Yeah, it
It's a
is.
struggle.
It is.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
does just things do. I wouldn't say like, oh, it's just like this thing happens and it gets all better, because even
Yeah.
this Mother's Day,
Yes.
it hit me like, grief is just one of those things. It's just an up and down, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
this Mother's Day, it really hit me hard. Um,
Yeah.
it was just like, oh my goodness, it's been a few years, but it still doesn't feel that way. It
Right.
doesn't, but it's
Right.
comforting to know that I had a loving mother that
Oh, I
supported me. You know what I'm
know.
saying?
Yes, the
Like,
same.
you know,
Yes, pictures and video. Like I love
yes,
looking at video and hearing the laughter.
yes,
Because when people are the full of life, and just trying to remember that part. The funeral and everything. Just, uh, it
yeah,
just makes everything so heavy and
right.
so, it's there. There was a part of it that because I had to take a pill. It
Listen,
was, yeah, I was like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm gonna have to take something. But there was one moment that I realized that I felt like I was on a reality show. Like it felt so heavy and so dramatic, and the
Right.
music was like so loud, and there was so much sound. And
Right.
since then, I've actually been having issues with too much sound around me.
Yeah.
Like whether people I can't do anything that's like too much of a club scene. Although I love a concert, that's
Right.
different. Music concerts but when there's people talking and it's a bunch of loud noise, background noise, and people are just like everybody's conversating at the same time, but nobody, I have to hear you. Like I
Yes.
really have issues when I can't hear people.
Yeah.
And so I remember it being at the funeral and stopping and being like, what's happening? Like what's like what's happening? Why is it so loud? Mama, it's so loud in here.
Help her to turn it down already.
Yeah, and she would be like, girl, turn that music down. She hated. And when we would play music in the back, my mom, 6 kids. I'm number 5, and then there's a baby after me.
Right.
And so all of us wanted. This is before everybody said put your headphones on.
Right.
We'd all go in our rooms in the back and shut the door and blast that music.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, here she come knocking. I'm like, here she's gonna knock and tell me to turn it down. It's just getting to the good part, and you better do it. Because that's respect. Yeah. Well, she would say this ain't no juke joint. I don't know what I was playing. I don't know. It probably is somebody like the emotions of Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm like, Mama, they wouldn't be singing at no juke joint anyway.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
No, I was going to tell you, my mom, she saw like tours coming through the town that I lived in. That I grew up in Evansville, Indiana. And so she was so like heartbroken that I moved to New York. Every time I would come home, she would say to me, they have these actors coming in to do these actors here are doing whatever show it is, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, Mom, those actors aren't from Evansville. No, I saw it. And they're doing this show, and you need to contact them because you could do these shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I wish you could understand that these are trained actors.
Oh yeah, that got the job in New York, most likely. Oh my God,
she was never convinced. She was like,
never convinced.
Call them, down there, and let them know that you perform here in Evansville. And I was like,
yeah, I gave up on that.
Yeah,
because today I get a lot of. Well, have you written to Tyler Perry? Yes. I write him daily. Yeah.
Right.
You don't got no time for me.
Right. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, it's so funny.
What you get from your family, you're just like,
oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I love y'all.
Transition because
Yeah.
I hit record, y'all. We were talking about just some of Illeana's new plans and some of the.
Oh yes.
So
right.
I'm excited to hear because I was like, okay, wait, I want to.
Of course.
Hear about all this.
Of course.
What is this new show that you're doing?
So the new show I wrote, so long story short, my friend Horace Smith, we worked together a lot when I was doing a lot of like the gypsy theater I always talk about doing.
Right.
Just means that I traveled the country doing theater a lot before I moved and settled in New York for a while. But we went to an audition for Royal Caribbean and we got there really early. And so we're like, let's just go get a coffee. So we went across the street and had a coffee. Horace is like a brother to me. Like I've known him 2000 and oh my gosh, I don't know, 1999. Like I was really way long,
right?
Long time. So he's like a brother. Like we really like go back and forth. Like we can fight like husband and wife. Or like brother sister. It just depends on what stupid stuff he says to me on that day. And we go at it. So, but funny and lovingly, there's a lot of love there. So we were at Starbucks. We sat in their cute little lobby and we were just talking. We weren't being silly and it was early in the morning. And we would look around and people would be like looking at us and laughing. And we're like, we're so sorry. They're like, no, just like goofy and silly. So then we went back to the audition and we auditioned And some of the people that were sitting and looking and laughing were the casting directors for Royal Caribbean.
No
Yes.
way.
So they came out. One of them came out after we had both auditioned, and they said, "Do you guys have a headliner show?" And we went, "No." And they were like, "Well, you should." And so that wheels began to turn.
Yeah.
And I wrote this show. It took me a while though. Like I literally did that audition was 2019. I got so busy. 2019, I was like coming in, like every show was like overlap. So I didn't have time. And then 2020, I replaced somebody in a show for me and Marie and Rosetta at Free Fall. There was a one girl who was the Rosetta Thorpe character that needed to handle some business. So I came in like Tech Week and replaced her in that show. So that took a big chunk of time. And then COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I had all the time in the world to write and think about doing things, and absolutely no interest or creativity in my blood to want to write anything. I was caring for my mom also at that time, because I always have cared for my mom since she became ill. Normally I would take her with me also. Well, she was even with me at that audition and for Royal. She would travel with me. And so I just had a lot going on, and I just wasn't thinking about it. And something happened in 2022, and I said, I feel like I might want to write this show. And so I started writing this show, and then I asked my friend Horace, what did he think about being a part, and we could do it as a duet. And he said, oh. And so I mentioned it to a friend who had a theater in St. Louis, and she said, well, we're looking for small shows. And I said, I have a small show. And so we put it in there. We did some recordings, some sizzle reels. We performed it for 3 nights as a Valentine's Day show. But the good thing about the show is that it's love songs, it's Motown, it's funk, and it's blues, and it's also torch songs. It's got a good variety of songs. It can be anytime, anywhere. It doesn't have to be Valentine. You can exchange songs and even have Christmas. It doesn't matter. You can put it together however you want to put it together. So we did the show there. It went over really, really well, and we were very happy about that. And so we're doing it again. Then I got the tour. I actually got the tour while I was doing that show. We did the show one night, and I booked this tour the next day. But I butt dialed my friend, and he said, they've been trying to reach you for like over a day now. And I'm like, and so I called them instantly, booked that visa, passport, everything, getting all that stuff together, and then went back to do 2 more days of this show. And then I had another show I had booked after that in California, did that, went to New York and rehearsed for Chicago. And then that began the Chicago where I am now. But the Songs in the Key of Love show, the website is songsinthekeyoflove.com. And so we're able to do that on ships and on, we can do it for parties. It's 2 acts that can just be 1 act. So it's really a very flexible show as well. Like for say you only want like 30 to 40 minutes of performance because you want your audience or your whoever's at your party to go and do something else. It can easily be split, to do that. So it's just it's good. It's a good time, and we play off each other very well. And so I think that's part of the selling point. It's because we're not scared to say anything. And sometimes I'm like, you got to watch your mouth because you say, it is scripted, but we can sometimes get off the script and funny things happen that are funnier, better than the script, Yeah. So that's what's happening. That's going to happen the end of June. We're in Cleveland, Tennessee, and a theater there. And I'm going to post it as well as soon as we're actually finalizing all of that tomorrow. I have a meeting tomorrow about it. So we'll get all of that done. It'll be good. Knock it out. Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
I'm excited. Yeah.
You should be. I mean, the fact that you wrote something like it's yours, like I love
it's so special.
Yeah.
When you can kind of like direct yourself and kind of put it out the way you want to put it out, but you still have to have the businesses want it. So that's just kind of where we are, right now.
Oh no, I'm like sending all the good energy for that.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
seriously.
Thank you. Thank
Oh, you
you.
are so welcome. Ileana, this has been amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I loved it.
Uh,
So good to catch up with you too.
yes, yes. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And all the information I got, I'll share in the show notes, y'all, so y'all can learn about
Oh,
the
please.
tours and like how all that
Yeah.
works, as well as the
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
I'll definitely share the website on that as well.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
So
I
welcome.
love you. Thanks for
I
asking
love
me.
you
I'm
too.
honored, really, truly.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is so good. And y'all,
Thank
thank
you.
you for listening to this week's episode of the Evening
Yes.
Podcast. I'll see y'all next week. You are the best. Thank you so
Mwah.
much.